Debbie Flower is here, America's favorite retired college horticultural professor. And if you have a garden question you'd like answered, there's a lot of ways to get them in. You can call or text us at 916-292-8964. You can leave an audio question without making a phone call via SpeakPipe. Go to speakpipe.com/gardenbasics. Email is fine. Send it to fred@farmerfred.com. Or you can fill out the contact box at gardenbasics.net. And you can find the same information in the show notes in just about every episode as well. So don't write and drive. Thank you very much. All righty. Evan writes us from San Jose, which is south of San Francisco. Very mild climate. Used to be an area of a lot of fruit orchards way back when.
Now it's the tech hub.
And $1 million 2-bedroom homes.
Right.
Yes. Go figure. Anyway, Evan writes, I live in San Jose, and in my backyard, I have a very small patch of grass that is around 200 square feet. I want to keep this patch because my daughter practices her gymnastics on it. But in the rainy season, it becomes a swampy bog, so I have to fight the moisture for a few months. During that period, I tend to aerate it with my fork quite a bit. Usually I spend 15 minutes aerating it each week to help it dry out and decompact it. I usually only disturb the top 4 to 6 inches of the soil, but I'm starting to worry that I'm doing too much. Is it possible to aerate a lawn too much? Can you recommend any non-destructive ways to fight moisture and compaction on a small lawn? My first question is, if you're using a fork, you're not aerating the soil. You're compacting
just pushing
the soil.
It to the side.
Yeah.
Creating holes, but pushing it to the side, which is causing compaction on either side of that
And
hole.
maybe more drainage issues.
Maybe more drainage issues. I assume he's having success, or he wouldn't be doing this over and over and over again.
Well, it's a fork that he doesn't give details about the fork.
I'm picturing a garden fork.
Yeah, and that's just tines.
Tines, right.
Yeah, as opposed to tubes.
Yes. Aeration should be done with tubes, hollow tubes that take out a chunk of the soil and whatever roots are in it. And they look, if you've ever seen goose poop, what they take out of the hole when they're aerating with a hollow tine aerator looks like goose poop.
Yeah, if you want to aerate, I still like the idea of renting an aerator because as it picks out those cores of soil, the device also ejects them on top of the soil. And you want to be able to do that. I think with a hand aerator, it's 2 motions. You plunge down, and then when you bring it back up, you have to eject the cores.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. And Evan, you're working too hard.
Right. And then once it's hollow, you use a hollow tine aerator of some sort to aerate the soil. You want to collect those goose poops. They're about the size of my pinky finger, 3 inches long and maybe quarter to a half an inch across, and smash them up so that they're just loose soil, and then rake them in over the top, or rake in some sand, something that would hold those holes open and allow air and water to move through them.
And I guess you could do that with a spreader of some sort. I know that in a lot of situations where you're rehabbing a lawn and you're dethatching and aerating, that's the other thing you might consider too, if you haven't, is dethatching your lawn. But in people who have, it's usually sort of a rhizomatomus, is that a word?
Rhizomatous.
Thank you, rhizomatous or stoloniferous lawn.
Yes, very good.
Thank you. That can tend to build up a lot of dead material below the surface that you don't ever see until you bring in a dethatcher, and all of a sudden you've got 2 cubic yards of dead lawn material to dispose of. And that can help drainage quite a bit as well.
Right. So those typical grasses that would have that problem are bluegrass, Bermuda grass, and creeping rye. No, actually, I was thinking of creeping red fescue.
Oh, red fescue.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
It's usually a creeping grass.
A creeping grass, exactly. Yeah. They fill in really well. If you're a golfer, you would love that because it fills in your divots you make, but it's a harder grass to maintain because of those stems that crawl across the surface and under the surface of the soil.
Fortunately, Evan, it's only 200 square feet, and maybe you can get through what you're calling aeration process in 15 minutes a week. But I have a funny feeling you're just compacting the soil.
Right. So my first question after reading his question is, what's causing the flooding? Is the lawn in the lowest part of that of the landscape so that water is flowing to it? Is it clay soil, so it just takes a longer time to drain and we're getting more storms that are dropping a lot of rain in a short period of time, and clay soil absorbs water very slowly. So is that the problem? Or is it a perched water table, meaning there are soils with two different types of textures on top of each other, which often happens in new housing developments because they build the houses and they scrape the land clear. Then they build the houses and drive heavy equipment all over the property around the house. And then they bring in, without touching that now compacted soil around the house, they bring in some sort of topsoil mix and throw sod on it. And so you've got the sod, which is always grown in a very loose soil, and then whatever they brought in, which is typically a very loose soil, and then this very compacted soil beneath it, which would slow down water penetration. So if you can figure out what's causing the problem, it's easier to fix it.
One way to do that would be to take out a fairly sizable core of your existing lawn and use a flat-headed shovel and go make a little square, maybe 8 inches by 8 inches by 8 inches by 8 inches, and go down about 8 inches, and then bring up that whole block
and see what it is.
And look at the layers.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised that there is this layer of dead stuff right under the green stuff. And then you're going to have the loose soil, and then you're going to have the compacted soil, and you want to say, well, how deep do the roots go? And if the roots are just going around the top, because who wants to go into compacted soil?
Right.
Well, that might be the issue right there.
Right. And the damp season is the time to do it because the soil it'll be easier to dig and it'll stick together better when you pull it out. So if that's the case, then you've got to create some penetration, some breaks, some open spaces between the top of the soil, the stems we were talking about that you would aerate and dethatch to get rid of, and the soil below. So vertical core aeration might fix that. As your fork tines only go about 4 inches deep, so does vertical core aeration only go 4 inches deep. If that doesn't do the job, if your soil layers are deeper than that, the compacted one that you need to break open is deeper than that, then you're going to have to dig holes in places and allow the water to drain there.
Yes, or hardscaping.
Yes. Well, there's one other process that may work, but it will take years. It was golf apparently was invented in Scotland. I am not a golfer. Maybe your wife knows this, but according to my turf professor at UC Davis, golf was invented in Scotland, and the best golf courses were right on the coast. I guess they're called the moors. I'm not positive about that. But the reason they were so good is that the soil was quite well drained, and sand would blow up from the beaches below and basically top dress the lawns every year with just a little bit of sand. And that is healthy for a lawn to top dress. There are reasons to do it. Usually the reasons are to either apply nutrition in the form of a compost or composted manure, and to fill in holes. If you've got a lumpy lawn, then you can fill in holes. You can do it every year. You can do it probably twice a year, but you're only applying 1/4 to 1/2 inch of top dress. And the top dress media, the soil, needs to be very close to the soil the grass is already growing in. The texture of the two need to match. So
good luck.
Yes. So you may have to buy topsoil at a topsoil place. You can mix it up to 1/3 to 1/2 with sand, horticultural sand, and just spread a layer 1/4 to 1/2 inch over the whole lawn. The grass will grow up into it. It will root into it. And so over time, you're going to raise your lawn. The organic component of what you applied is going to break down, but the sand is going to stay there. So you're going to raise your lawn maybe 1/2 inch a year, and you might raise it right up out of that wet spot.
I have, I believe, in the past written on the Farmer Fred Rant blog page about rehabbing a lawn that included specific instructions on dethatching and aeration, overseeding, and then covering with a material. And so you can get some good ideas there on the machinery that makes it a lot easier, like a bigger roller. Actually, you probably want 2 rollers if you're overseeding. You want one that's filled with water to get the seeds into the soil, and then like a cage with small holes that you fill with compost and roll it across the lawn.
Perfect.
And it does a very good job.
And I have seen those at rental places.
Yeah. Oh, hey, a good nursery will lend it to you for the day.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. But Evan, if you're doing it every week for 15 minutes, you're doing it way too much. You threw out a phrase, Debbie, of doing it maybe twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But again, you're removing cores. Unfortunately, in the world, but I'm glad we're getting away from this scenario of when people have a garden problem, they go into a nursery and say, what can I buy to fix this?
Right.
We were at a nursery yesterday.
Yes.
And we saw a product that I might think that an employee who didn't know better or was trying to make a sale might say, yeah, we got something we can sell you. It's a natural soil food for lawns and hard soils. It loosens compacted soil. It improves root penetration, mass, and grass growth, and also helps to stimulate microbial life. And it's only $30. And it's like, okay, what is it? Well, that's a darn fine question. And we were looking at that bag yesterday. I don't think we ever decided what was in it, or it was even in the bag.
Right.
I should check my notes on that.
I think it was sulfur and calcium.
Yeah, and iron. Yeah,
and iron.
Right. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
It was micronutrients.
Yeah.
Which the grass needs, but it's not going to open your soil. The only kind of soil that it will have any effect on is sodic soil, is what it's called. And it's soil with salt in it. There are places where salt, and I'm talking like table salt, but there are other salts as well. But table salt has sodium in it, where sodium naturally collects in the soil and binds it, makes it tight. Calcium can be applied to such soils, and it binds where the sodium is and releases the sodium and opens up the soil. And typically you apply calcium with sulfur because calcium will greatly change the pH or the alkalinity and acidity of your soil, and sulfur will prevent that from happening with this application. So there's only one very limited situation where this product is going to do anything other than provide nutrients.
You'd be better off spending your money on a fine compost and rolling that over the lawn.
Yes. And I was saying that process, the top dressing, can be done twice a year. I wouldn't dethatch and aerate more than once a year.
Okay.
You want to do the top dressing when the grass is actively growing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to top dress in spring, when the forsythia shrubs bloom. That's typically when the soil is warm enough for the spring weed seeds to germinate. And I like to top dress to cover up those baby seedlings so they can't find the sun and they don't grow.
I love horticultural phenology. That's what,
yes.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's you do garden chores based on what's in bloom,
right,
or what's happening in the garden. And the forsythia bloom usually happens late winter, early spring,
when the soil is just getting warm enough for things to germinate.
Or you find you're mowing the lawn more often.
Yes.
There's that too. And most lawns, we don't know, Evan, what type of lawn you have. So it could be a cool season lawn. It could be a warm season lawn.
Yes.
And
San Jose, I would guess, would be a cool season lawn.
Yeah, but you never know.
Right.
All right. So, Evan, stay off your lawn.
Yeah, don't walk on it when it's really wet. That compacts the soil in and of itself.
Yeah, exactly. Now, it should be moist when you do it, but not so soggy.
Not soggy, right.
That it would actually compact the soil, because when you compact the soil, you're removing air.
Right.
Air is a necessity for root growth.
Yes, it is. Good luck.
There's a lot I would do in this situation, I think.
Start over.
Yes. Start over. Get some professional equipment. First of all, I'd dig out that chunk, that 8 by 8 inch chunk. Go down 8 inches.
You got to know what's going on down there.
Yeah. Identify the pest, if you will.
And if you do that, send us a picture.
Yeah, it could be that thatch layer that needs to get dethatched. If you see a layer of dead stuff below the green stuff before it hits soil. If, on the other hand, when you dig that out and it's just dripping water, well, then you've got a watering issue. It could be from flow from your neighbor's sprinklers or your own sprinklers. And it just may be, as you said, Debbie, just a low-lying area. But if it's supporting a lawn, lawns are amazingly resilient.
Yes, they are. That's why people like them.
Yeah.
That, and you only have to know one set of instructions to care for them.
Yes.
But yeah, I suspect there's layers of soil in there that are impeding water flow.
And if it smells, you really got a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it smells like low tide or dead fish.
Yeah. That means your soil is getting way too much water. And so think about where the water's coming from and how much you're watering it. It sounds like maybe you can turn off the sprinklers.
If that's the issue,
Yeah.
And maybe your daughter needs a really nice mat.
Trampoline.
Big mat, yeah.
No, we don't want to discourage your daughter, Evan, from practicing her gymnastics, but yeah, a mat would make sense. A 200 square foot mat.
Mat, right.
Yeah. And you'd save yourself a lot of work. It would be a worthwhile investment.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when she's done or moved on, you can raise that soil level and have a lawn or whatever you want to grow in that location.
Or you could leave the mat there and sleep out there at night because your wife kicked you out. So there's always that. All right. So good luck with improving your lawn drainage there, Evan. Thanks for writing in. And thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome, Fred.